Hey everyone, Gallifrey707 and welcome to today's video. We'll be breaking down, looking at all the Easter eggs and references that was featured in the first episode of Series 13, Chapter 1 of Flux, titled The Halloween Apocalypse. We get introduced to Dan, meet the Swarm, see the Flux, sets up multiple episodes and different storylines. It definitely feels like a big preview of what's to come, like a feature-length trailer. So there's a lot of kind of random stuff which hopefully will make sense kind of later on. The core bits are kind of setting up this menace, the Flux, this entity wiping out everything, and the Swarm. So we'll be breaking down all the kind of key elements. Let me know in the comment section below your favourite moments and maybe stuff I didn't spot in this video. So we start with an epic escape sequence of the Doctor and Yaz trying to survive multiple traps. They're about to plunge their deaths. This mysterious figure called Carvanista wants to get the Doctor and Yaz off his tail. So he set them over this acid pool. They do manage to escape. It's a movie scale sequence. The CGI is really impressive. It's a really action-packed way to open the episode. A couple of Easter eggs include the mention of Nitro 9, which is the famous bomb that Ace uses in the 7th Doctor era. And also to release the handcuffs, the Doctor attempts to do a Scottish accent, referring to the 12th Doctor or the 7th Doctor. As she says, she might have activated these voice-activated handcuffs when she was Scottish. As they're flying through the air, they kind of drop at the right time and fling into the TARDIS, onto his bungee and then onto his bed. It reminded me of Day of the Moon when River uses the TARDIS and she goes straight through to the swimming pool. Then we get a scene in Liverpool, 1820, where these tunnels are being dug. This is the only scene that we see in this, so I don't know what episode this is going to appear in. But these two guys having a conversation with one of them saying, why are you building these tunnels? There's no purpose to it. It's random. And the other man sounds like he knows about the Flux and what's coming, and maybe he's protecting the Earth somehow. Because he keeps saying, you don't understand. Your brain would burn if you knew about what I knew and all this stuff. So again, it never kind of crops up again in this episode, but I'll be waiting to see when that plot line appears again. Current to over 200 years later, we meet Dan, we think is a tour guide. We obviously saw him as a plasterer in the introduction teaser back at the end of Revolution of the Daleks. But he's not actually a tour guide. He wants to do something different. He doesn't want to do kind of plastering that anymore. He has a passion for that. This woman called Di kind of stops him and says, if you do it again, you're going to be banned by my boss. You get a real sense of his optimism and loving, outgoing look on life. You kind of instantly warm to him. Before he leaves, Di mentions, we saw him for those drinks tonight. They'll be going for a kind of date, non-date, as she says. But something gives me the feeling that there might not be time for a date with all the chaos that's happening. The Doctor starts to have issues with the TARDIS, there's black leakage leaking from the top of the TARDIS, and then she gets a psychic connection to this rock planet, and it's the Swarm, which is creature's been imprisoned there. He is talking to her, so it's he's showing her that he's escaped. These two guards, which I assume are Time Lords, because it's to do with the division, and the guns that they have are the same ones Ruth used in Fugitive of Jadoon. They're there to make sure that he doesn't escape and he's still alive and all the mechanics are working, but he gets the better of them somehow. It's a really threatening villain. I don't know what the quite full spectrum of his powers are, because he seems to be able to psychically control someone, burn them alive. As Riku Free kind of absorbs all the energy, and he kind of changes his face as well. He says when he kills one of the women, he says, this is your reward for admirable service to the Division, which is a secret organisation set up in Series 12, which we saw the Fugitive Doctor and Gat, which I'm sure will be more explored in this series, as it was kind of teased and set up in the background of Series 12. We get to see a bit more of Dan's personal life. He's volunteering at a food bank. He refuses to take any soup. But when he gets home, we realise that he is kind of struggling. He's got no food in the house, kind of got bills to pay and all this stuff. But no time for food, because Carvanista breaks in and starts to take Dan in this hilarious scene where Dan's thinking it's a fancy dress costume. Great written dialogue by Chris Chibnall and the comedic timing of John Bishop. So Carvanista teleports Dan with him to his ship. The Doctor and Yaz arrive, looking at all Dan's photos on the fridge, and they work out for using this laptop where Carvanista's gone, and they realise it's not Dan's laptop. Rush out the house, again it's another trap set up by Carvanista, and the house shrinks. Gave me vibes of the Master's TC unit device, where he shrinks people. We then cut to the Arctic Circle, and another one of those scenes where it all kind of makes sense once you've seen the whole story. There's this couple who sort of just living life, and they get this alert, and this mysterious alien device goes beeping off like in their garage. The woman smashes it and kind of does want nothing to do with it. It kind of gave me a vibe of Ruth and Lee from Future to Jadoon, where it's kind of maybe they're being under protection or in hiding. Well, Dr. Yaz's about to leave Liverpool. This mysterious woman called Claire, who knows them, but the Doctor and Yaz do not. Very, very timey-wimey. This gave me vibes of the end of Blink, where Sally Sparrow approaches the 10th Doctor, gives him all the folder for all the stuff he needs. But he's obviously not met her yet. When the Doctor and Yaz get in the TARDIS, there is TARDIS trouble. The doors are in the wrong place. The TARDIS won't start. So Yaz picks up a hammer, which is a reference to the 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS, where they used to use a hammer to kind of bash it. So the Doctor uses the hammer and kickstarts the TARDIS into motion. Claire's walking home, and surprise, surprise, there's a weeping angel waiting for her. There's this great sequence, obviously trying to open the door, the keys, she drops the keys, weeping angel's getting closer and closer, and does send her back in time. So it is strange, because you'd think that the weeping angel had already sent her back in time. So maybe this has already kind of happened before and it's happening again. I know she's been told about it before she gets sent back in time. Who knows? We then get introduced to Vinda, who is the captain of an observation post called Rose. Maybe a Rose Tyler reference. So he's basically just stuck there doing like vlogs. He seems very kind of bored. It kind of speaks too soon because he's like, oh, it's always the same type of thing. And then suddenly the Flux appears and starts wiping out planets. So he's in for a very eventful day. Back at the Arctic Circle, the Swarm comes and uses projector. Her boyfriend dies, warning her not to touch anything. Again, kind of similar, I feel, to like Lee, like protecting Ruth, but in this position. But she's revealed to be the Swarm's sister, so I don't know if she was in protection from him, like maybe she took a deal to live a normal life as he was imprisoned or something. Again, hope that'll be revealed. But she regains consciousness. She says, oh, I've got a thought in my mind saying thank you. And then she transforms into the same skull-like creature as him. The Doctor and Yaz, after a bit of trouble trying to get into Carvanara's ship due to a TARDIS malfunctioning, they get in and the Doctor uses the Hopper virus to shut down the security of the ship, which is a very deep reference to Orphan 55. There was a Hopper virus used when Ryan was using the vending machine, and there's this like electric creature who sort of goes into his skin and he starts getting this hallucination. So if you don't know, it'd be kind of a bit like the what virus, but it's a nice thing if you know. Our expectations are better with Carvanista. As a species, the Lipari, there's 7.2 billion ships coming to Earth. The Doctor assumes invasion. However, it's actually the opposite. As man's best friend has come in the most biggest crisis point, obviously with the Flux, they've actually come to save humanity and escort them away from Earth before it gets destroyed. The Doctor is there for no reason as well, which is revealed. So she's actually been hunting down Carvanista kind of relentlessly, as he is the last surviving member of the division. Throughout the episode, like Yaz is being like, why are we doing this? And the Doctor's like, stay out of it. But he doesn't give anything away. He's like, it's not worth it. I'm forbidden to tell you anything. But he might change his mind when we get nearer to the end of the series, as we kind of slowly learn a bit more about the division. Yaz gets Dan out of the cage. She dismantles all of the traps that have been set up, and she introduces herself as Yaz's former police officer. So has she resigned? I'd be interested to see if they follow that up. Maybe she kind of thought, you know, I'm spending too much time on the TARDIS, I can't read line anymore, as you saw in like Spyfall Part 1, where she's like, oh, I want another sabbatical and all this stuff. So maybe she has tracked it in. Vinda sends out a message and manages to escape his outpost away from destruction. Where he'll turn up next, where he'll go, we will have to wait and see. This and the Liverpool scene from the past are very kind of isolated and have kind of no interaction with any other characters. As he escape in this action-packed sequence from Carvanista, the Doctor says, oh, nice to meet you, Dan, run for your life. I'll say 9th Doctor vibes, where he met Rose for the first time. As they get into the TARDIS, they enter at another point with the police box inside on the floor, and there's multiple different doors. The TARDIS is going haywire. It reminded me about like the Gopolis, where you see the TARDIS within the TARDIS. The Doctor now knows about the Flux, and she tries to find where its source is. She says, why doesn't she know about this, and who else does? which cuts nicely to the Sontaran cameo. We see their massive ship, we see 2 new Sontarans, a new one played by Jonathan Watts, who gives an impressive impression straight away. Probably going to be one of my favourite Sontaran things. It's so much humour and kind of like liveliness. But also we get Dan Starkey, who's played multiple Sontarans throughout the years, most recently playing Strax for quite a long period of time. But this isn't the same Sontaran, so he's been investigating the Flux, and reports that the Flux is now approaching, and the Sontarans can take advantage of this, which sets up their main episode, which is going to be episode 2, War of the Sontarans. The TARDIS takes Dr. Yaz and Dan to the end of the universe to investigate what the Flux is and where it's come from. There's another scene with Dan taking it all in. The Doctor and Yaz are quite used to it, but with him he's like, whoa, this is like really beautiful. But it's suddenly interrupted by the cloister bell going off. The TARDIS giving them a warning to get the hell out of there. And obviously say the cloister bells appeared in multiple different episodes over Doctor Who's past. The Doctor gets attacked by another psychic projection where she witnesses the destruction of multiple planets. We're seeing all these planets being destructed, but we do get a shot of these random alien creatures running away, but you know, being blasted away by the Flux. And the Doctor gets projected to meet the swarm. They're having this conversation. He references her mind being wiped by a division, saying they've done a really good job, as she has no idea. He says they've had multiple battles, and I assume this is with the fugitive Doctor or maybe another Doctor. But he says he's got the advantage now, as she's in the dark completely, and he's like got all this history with those two. So the Doctor is really in the unknown. The Flux starts following and attacking the TARDIS as it starts heading to Earth. Then Dan says, oh, what about Diane? We get a shot of Diana waiting for a date, with Dan obviously not appearing. Then she gets this mysterious voice telling her to walk into this house, and she's trying to stop herself, but she can't help herself but walk. The doors open to this like very mysterious house. She gets transported through this white light to this planet, which I think is where the swarm was held prisoner. It's very dark, dingy. She's surrounded by water. And out of the shadows comes the swarm sister saying, we're going to have a lot of fun, referring to her brother. So maybe they're going to use this against the Doctor, using this as like a bargaining tool maybe. As Earth's about to be destroyed, the Doctor helps Carvanista to send a formation plan to his species, as all 7 billion ships form around the Earth to protect it, as somehow ships are protected, hopefully, fingers crossed, they can protect the Earth from the Flux. So the Earth is safe for now, but due to the TARDIS malfunctioning again, they cannot get behind the battalion, so they're stuck with the force of the Flux coming towards the TARDIS. All the doors swing open, as there's multiple TARDIS doors now coming from all sides. The Doctor, in a last minute ditch, uses the hammer again, smashes open the TARDIS, and gives the Flux a blast of vortex energy. It gave me Series 1 vibes when Rose looks into the heart of the TARDIS. This massive beam goes against the Flux, but doesn't seem to do anything. With chaos going on, we then get a nice montage of all the different characters we met so far, including all the villains as well. And the Doctor stating this is the end of the universe. I wondered what it'd feel like. With a closer shot of the Flux entering the TARDIS. Wow, what a kicking off to a 6-part story. It's great that we're getting loads of stuff about the Timeless Children. I'm really pleased about that. Going to learn about the Division, which was kind of there within the Timeless Child reveal, and obviously with the fugitive Dr. Roos, it's great we're going to explore that. The Swarm is a very threatening villain. Him and his sister are going to be a very powerful combo. It'd be interesting what the full range of their powers are, but they look pretty much unstoppable. Hopefully Earth survives, and I'm sure the Doctor, Dan and Yaz will survive. Maybe it's just going to be stories all set on Earth, as every other planet has been destroyed. Dan was an instant favourite, really lovable character, and the comedy is through the roof. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how he interacts now with the Doctor and Yaz going forward. It's not a traditional thing, because usually it does focus on the companion. Not in a bad way, that this time it's more kind of focused on the Flux. We get a bit of an introduction, but I feel like as we go on, we'll get kind of a bit more and more revealed about him. But it's not a traditional companion introduction story whatsoever. It's kind of like a companion joining in the series finale. It's like, we don't have time. Action-packed, finale-level threat to kick off Doctor Who Flux, with the Doctor going on her biggest adventure yet. Very excited now, especially for all the Sontarans. The cameo appearance was great. Obviously got the Weeping Angel episode at some point as well. How's Vinda going to play into it? What's all the stuff about Liverpool? Time will tell. It always does. So I hope you enjoyed today's breakdown. Again, if you've got Easter eggs or any favourite moments from the opening episode, let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, you can comment, like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Links to our stuff in the description below. But until next time, Bye bye.